Hi guys, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason. My fuzzy little co-star Freya is wandering around here. Hi, baby. And we're bringing you today's video. As always guys, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We say it every time, but we're just a little family channel. Me, the fuzzy one, the wife, and a whole butt ton of books. 9, 10, 11 full bookcases, I'm not sure. We love to talk about books. We love to bring books out to you guys. And we're going to keep doing it no matter what, but we would appreciate any support you guys might want to give us. Thank you to our patrons, by the way. Really appreciate that. And along those lines, check the links down below for the links to today's book and any other applicable links that might apply that we can think of. Otherwise, I'm going to get into today's book. So I'm not going to go through my usual 4 categories because I've talked about this series and this author in the past. I want to talk about The First to Fire. Defiance of the Fall, I think it was book 9 that just came out. Yeah, Defiance of the Fall, book 9 by JF Brink. This is hands down my favorite lit RPG series. It's not even close. It is just absolutely amazing. And there's some great lit RPG series out there. I read a whole ton of them. But this is, again, my absolute favorite. There are some others that come, that are up there, but Defiance of the Fall, my number one. Now, for those of you guys that may have seen my video for book 8, this book, book 9, was far superior. Far superior. This is probably my favorite book so far in the series. And that's pretty rare for series that are this long. Usually they have their, jump the shark moment or something like that, where they kind of start declining down in quality. And Defiance of the Fall is gaining steam. It is getting better. Book 8, I wasn't a huge fan of, but it was probably my least favorite. But I still read all the way through. I still absolutely loved it. But book 9 just had me from the get-go. So there may be some spoilers in this. I do my best not to give major spoilers. But just to talk about the book, I'm gonna have to give a few little details of it. So we catch back up with Zachary Atwood, Lord Atwood, or Arcaz Black, or Zachary Piker, whatever other name that he happens to be going by at the moment, and his continuing quest to gain power, gain riches, gain knowledge, gain allies, and protect, just so he can protect Earth. And the last book ended with the Twilight Harbor having some issues. Well, book 9 starts with those issues, and it's pretty intense as Zach has continued to gain power and gain more abilities, learn how to cultivate, open nodes, get better skills, get better weapons, get better allies. And as he continues to get more and more powerful, and always seems to be a lodestone for trouble. Zach reminds me of me when I was a kid, because wherever he's at is where the biggest realm of chaos happens to be residing. And yet, when the fall of Twilight Harbor happens at the beginning of the book, we get introduced to levels of power that are pretty much incomprehensible. We were talking basically gods are coming out to play, and it doesn't really go very well for Zach. So in his attempts to escape the destruction that is going on there, he unfortunately runs into a whole nother issue and is once again finding himself somewhere that he cannot get out of. He is basically imprisoned. But this prison also offers a lot of opportunity for Zach to gain mostly power, some knowledge, but the knowledge that he is going to gain is more about himself. More about himself and more about his abilities. And I think that's what I really liked about this book. This book, in a way, book 9 is basically just one really long training montage in a lot of ways. Because a lot of the errors that Zach has made up to this point, he learns how to fix and gain, not just gain more power, but consolidate the power he already has. For where he's at, he could and should be a lot stronger than he is. And he also learns how skill and knowledge matter more than raw power. As he ends up in at one point, he ends up restricted. He's restricted down. He's extremely weakened. He's restricted down to a cap on his abilities and all his attributes, and so is everybody else. And yet he discovers that people that are significant levels above him, hegemons, autarchs, that even though they theoretically have the exact same statistics and are restricted to the same level as Zach, they're still on an entirely different level as his, just based on skill and ability and knowledge. So he's able to use that and able to find more allies for various reasons that would be a little bit spoilerish. Some of the people he comes across that are far, far, far beyond him in power, they have reasons to share more knowledge than they normally would. Outside of the greater universe of Defiance of the Fall, knowledge and power is kept very, very close, because this is these cultivation style books, cultivation style worlds. It's always about battle. It's always about being the strongest, and you don't want to give advantages to anybody else. In this book, we again run into some people that, for various reasons, are freer to share knowledge just to share knowledge, to help just to help. There might be a little bit of hope that the person could aid them in at some point in the future, but mostly a lot of the I'm hoarding this knowledge because I might need to kill you one day thing doesn't really exist, and there's reasons to go ahead and share. So Zach is able to learn a lot. Another thing that I really liked about this book is, again, because it's kind of a really long training montage, we actually get time jumps. And he'll learn something, and then we go ahead and get a nice little time jump of 6 months, 8 months, possibly sometimes even a year or more, and move on to the next thing that he needs to learn now that he has gone ahead and exercised what he's learned and mastered what he's learned, and then continue to grow from there, or learn something new, or realize that he basically has to hit the reset button. Sometimes you just got to hit the reset button. You got to unplug it, plug it back in. That's basically what he does in some ways with what he's doing, but he really manages to gain a lot. I am fascinated to find out what happens next, because it just seems like Zach's growth is just so incredibly explosive. It's even mentioned in this book by another person how, in book 7 and book 8, because it's kind of one long story right there, how, at the beginning of this 3-year thing, the Zach was below one person in power, and just within a few years, he's 2 or 3 times their power level just within those years. His growth is absolutely explosive, but it's been very scattershot up to this point. Very scattershot, very, very random, very chaotic. Zach has learned a lot, improved his DAOs, he has these insights, but he's not really being formally trained, and because of that, and because he's basically self-taught, he's made a lot of errors, and now he gets a chance to fix some of those errors. So I'm very curious to see how much stronger he's gotten in comparison to many of these characters we already know. There are also brief periods of stories surrounding, or brief periods in the book surrounding some of our other side characters that we all know and love, such as Ogras, but for the most part, this is all about Zach, or Arcas Black, or whatever the hell he's calling himself at the time, and it's fantastic. Like I said, this one is absolutely the best one so far. You guys gotta read it after you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.